Microphones attack.
What's up, game boys and girls? Big T here, back with another video. And this video is me being annoyed, mostly with Digital Foundry's take. I think the video, let me look at it right here. Nintendo shuts down Yuzu and gets $2.4 million settlement. I didn't want to do a reaction to this video, like a kind of, what do you say? Like, not really live stream, but like like I'll play the video and react to it, real time or something like that. Didn't want to do that because I didn't want this video to be too long, and my points about the video, can be summed up a lot quicker than me sitting here reacting to the video in real time. But this is one of the most ignorant, asinine videos that kind of got me triggered that I've seen in a long time. So recently, I did a video about Nintendo Piracy, Yuzu, and all that kind of stuff, and I touched on some of the stuff I'm going to touch on again in this video. And so this is one of their excerpts from their podcast, I guess, where they talked about the Yuzu situation. Most of it was fine. There's a lot of I hate to group PC gamers like this, but these are the guys that people think about when they think about PC gamers, the guys at Digital Foundry and whatnot. And it's unfortunate because, again, me growing up playing PC games, it was somewhat about specs. Stuff looked nicer on PC, but it was about playing games that you didn't really see on console, like RTSs and like MMOs and this is real-time strategy, point-and-click adventures, stuff like that, stuff that you can really see on consoles, strategy games, certain first-person shooter games, third-person like open-world-ish type games. You didn't see that on console really at the time, and that's what PC gaming was always in my mind. It wasn't about the stuff that these guys talk about, Digital Foundry, and that's what their company is about. They're about benchmarking and get the prettiest googly woogly graphics out of everything, and but this take was kind of despicable. And when you see stuff like this from journalists, it's for them to have the nerve to then have this kind of moral standing, moral high ground. When they talk about certain issues in the industry, they lose all credibility with stuff like this because piracy is wrong, and they were kind of advocating piracy in this video. Sure, they skirt around it and whatnot, but they were kind of advocating. So one thing that really got on my nerve was, I think his name is John, the dude with glasses. He's the guy you see most of the time when it comes to Digital Foundry, their videos and whatnot. He was saying, talking about Nintendo and emulation and talking about, games don't run perfectly on Switch.
And I do kind of agree with you, Alex.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that things played out this way. And I also agree with what Jake's saying about it's not just about not buying the games. It's because they want to experience them correctly. Sorry. Better. The Switch itself does not play these games perfectly as you would like, which was not always the case with Nintendo games. Usually do run pretty well, but you look at something like Tears of the Kingdom, it's not terrible or anything. It's an impressive game for the hardware, but the PC can do much better.
Okay, yeah. When have games ever run perfectly on any hardware? Games don't run perfectly on PC a lot of times. It takes a while sometimes to get the games to run properly. We're having issues like that with the Classic Collection or Classic Edition of Star Wars on PC right now. And this happens a lot of times when new big games come out. The PC version is always in shambles. Not always, but I'm saying occasionally it's the PC version that's just in complete shambles. That happens a lot of times. And it's usually because these companies don't have the bandwidth to put out versions of all these different games at once. And so they run into issues trying to put their games on all these platforms day and date. So I understand that. But this idea that, just because the game doesn't run perfectly, it's okay for me to steal it and put it on my PC. And if you didn't buy the game, you are stealing it. Okay? Especially when we're talking about Yuzu. And first party Nintendo, whoever's games, just new games that are coming out, current gen games. for the current generation of platform. If you're currently the Switch is the latest current generation of Nintendo, yada yada yada, right? So, I'm a little iffy on that. Like, if you went out and bought, like, even if you don't have a Switch, go out and buy the goddamn game. Go out and buy Tears of the Kingdom or whatever, and then you can justify saying, okay, well, I want to play this at a higher resolution, higher frame rate, whatever. Then I would be more okay with that. That's still not okay when it comes to. It is a little gray area, like I said before, with the law and whatnot. But if you take that cartridge and you dump it, obviously you have the right to emulate it. That's what the law says. So I think his name John Linneman, he was talking about how these Nintendo games don't run perfectly on the hardware. Again, what game on any hardware runs perfectly? So to use that as justification as to why you should steal games is ridiculous. It's despicable. And so that was one of the things that annoyed me. And a lot of times, again, I hate to box PC gamers, but these are the guys that represent you. These are the guys that people see most of the time, that annoy most people. The entitlement to think that just because you have a box that can play things at the best, that means you should have everybody's games. Like, that's that's insane to me. If the company doesn't want to put their game on your platform, that is their prerogative. They may lose money for that or not make as much money as they could. That is up to them to do that. You don't have the right to have the game if the company doesn't want you to do it. You can be mad about it. You can be upset about it. I would like to play everything on one device, but I can't, and I don't get mad about it though. That's the thing. I don't feel like I'm entitled to have Nintendo's games or Sony's games on my one magical device. That's just not how the world works. Like, if a guy opens a store, some guy opens a store, and he's opening the store based on the certain products that he himself makes, right? He makes a certain type of, tool set, or he has a special, grill or whatever. He only wants to put that grill and that tool set that's really good in his store. He wants you to come to his store. That's not anti-consumer. That's called business. That's the way the world works. He wants you to come to his store and buy his products in his store because you will spend more money. Right? He makes more money because he doesn't have to worry about a middleman. So he's giving you these products, and he doesn't have to pay such and such person in the store to put his product in their store. Like, let's say Steam. Like, just bring everything to Steam. Well, Steam charges a percentage of the money that the games make. Maybe some companies don't want to give up that percentage, right? And they don't, and that's why you have certain bigger companies who don't put their games on Steam, or at least like Activision had their own kind of launchers and whatnot because they didn't want to pay that fee, and that's fine. Just because you have this box and Steam on it doesn't mean everything has to come to your box with Steam. Like, I don't know why that's a weird thing for some people, why they feel like that's anti-consumer. No, it's pro-business. It's pro their business. Now, there may come a situation where that business model doesn't work. Now, it's starting to seem that way when it comes to Sony, and Microsoft has already gone that route. But it hasn't been the case for Nintendo. Nintendo sells tens of millions of copies of their games on their systems, even with piracy, right? But just because they do that doesn't mean you're entitled. Or they sold 30 million copies, I can still steal this game. No, that's not how the law works. That's not how the world works. That's unethical. Imagine being somebody who created something, took years of their life to make this thing, and some asshole with a computer just takes it and says it's okay because Nintendo's anti-consumer. I'm going to justify. No, that is not fair to all those people that put their heart and soul and blood, sweat, and tears into making these games. Yes, the company has paid them, but it's completely disrespectful. Have you never made anything in your life? Have you never created anything of your own? That you just made from scratch, that you just built from the ground up. And then to have somebody, that would be like to have somebody come by and just take it for nothing. That would be horrible. I would think, I don't know if you guys are thinking when you're doing this, This is not a victimless crime. I hate to use the terminology that the Piracy PSA used, but it's true. You're taking from people. It's just wrong. You're stealing. Okay? So unless you've bought the game in some capacity, go out and buy the game. Then I won't say anything about what you do with it. You want to emulate it on your fucking toaster? Go ahead, because you bought the game. You spent the money. You gave the developers. You gave Nintendo, the product maker, the money for what their product. Because that's how the world works. You can't just go out. Oh, I want a Lamborghini. So they don't sell Lamborghinis at the price I like or at the dealership that I like. So I'm just gonna go steal one. Okay, well that's illegal. That is just illegal. Oh yeah, my Toyota Corolla doesn't perform at the levels I would like, so I'm gonna go steal an engine and throw it in there, and that's fine because I should be able to have whatever. No, that's not how it works, and it's just insane to me that these guys. Who are you trying to convince with this stuff? You're lying. You're stealing. And there's no justification for that. Again, I feel like if you went out and bought the game at whatever capacity, do whatever you want with it. Now, again, the law is kind of wishy-washy on that, and I wish there would be, some way to like strictly say this is okay, this is not okay. And we'll get to that point at some point because somebody's going to test it, right? And companies keep testing it.
So it's not so much that Nintendo was going after emulation per se; they were going after specifically the behavior and the sorts of things that the Yuzu developers were engaging with, which, in a way it's about piracy, I guess. Playing day one games is one thing, but the way they went about doing it and talking about it within their channel seems like that could have been the point that Nintendo could get them on, so to speak, right, among other things. And that's fundamentally the problem.
Like Yuzu. Now Yuzu went a little far. Their Patreon, yes, made $30,000 a month. So what? They have every legal right to do that. That's not the problem. Nintendo might not have liked that, and they might have found a way to get at them, but they got at them because of their Discord and what they were discoursing in the Discord. They were doing illegal things. They were trying to help people pirate games. There's back and forth conversations for them doing that. And that's what they were worried about. They weren't worried about the Patreon. The Patreon is out and open. I don't know why people keep talking about Patreon. You are allowed to make money off an emulator. Remember I told you about Bleen? Bleen was sold in retail stores. All right? You had to have a copy of the game, and that's where the law comes in. You had to have a copy of the game you wanted to emulate, but you could emulate it, and the company could make money off their emulator. That is completely fine. But the thing is, you still have to buy the game. And that's where all this comes in. So all these guys on PC talking about, I want to preserve it. Okay, preserve it. Go out and buy the game. Preserve it that way first, And then if the game is not available, whatever. Like Super Mario 3D All-Stars, right? You could have bought it when it came out. You didn't, all right? Let's say now you want to play it. You can't, right? You can't buy it. Do whatever. I don't care about, when it comes to that. That's on Nintendo. Now, obviously, again, the law is the law. But for me, I don't feel like that's egregious. Now, if they want to offer the game up some kind of way, fine. But you can't be emulating stuff that you didn't pay for that is available for you to buy. You may not like where the hardware is. You may not like that. You may not like the where the software, you have to go to play the software. That is your problem. Okay? That is your problem. This is not me. Again, I don't care about emulation. So I've said this 1,000 times. This is not me defending Nintendo. This is me defending right from wrong. Thievery, stealing from, again, emulation is different because there are the laws around it. People seem to forget that stuff, and they just want to jump to the, they want to jump to the end game and forget about all the steps that gets you to that end game that allows you to play that emulated game. And for a major, I guess not major, but a big journalism company that is Digital Foundry to be sitting there moping, and you should look at the video, moping and just making these faces with what's his name, young Elon Musk. I think his name is Alex, and he was the most pretentious and smug of the three. Like I said, You know, the other two were okay. Most of the stuff they're saying was mostly okay. Like I said, I had problems with the thing that John Linneman said about oh well, Nintendo games don't run that great on the Switch. Well, that's your problem. Then don't play it on there, but go buy the game first. Say, hey, here's my copy. Now I'm gonna do whatever I want with it. That is fine, but the smugness of young Elon Musk and just what they were saying, like, you are a company out in the public, you're in the gamer sphere, like, for you to be sitting there basically, and I mean basically, promoting and saying it's okay to be pirates, like, wow. I mean, you're the problem, not emulators and whatnot, and emulators being out there and talking about themselves and having Patreons and whatnot. That kind of thought process, that's what makes companies like Nintendo upset. Now, Nintendo isn't perfect, because Nintendo came at me over an eBay auction that I had, and I'll talk about that in another video, and that is ridiculous. But in this instance, people taking their games and not paying for them, that is illegal. That's called theft. That's stealing. Hey, Digital Foundry, I need some headphones, right? I don't want to pay for them. I want to preserve your headphones in my house. I'm gonna come by to your podcast and just snatch your headphones off your head and leave. Is that okay? No. Yes, what you're talking about doing when it comes to companies. Just because these companies make a lot of money doesn't mean it's okay to steal from them, right? That's crazy. How do you justify that? Just because a company makes a lot of money, it's okay to steal from them? No, that's not how it works. They make a lot of money because of the product they put out, because of what they did. They earned it. A lot of these companies earned it. Now, obviously, some companies make money doing nefarious things, but I'm talking about specifically when it comes to making these games. They made a product. Go buy the goddamn product and quit talking about how you're trying to preserve something that is readily available. Go out and buy it. It's ridiculous to me. That's the part of it. That's what I hate about this side of emulation and whatnot. Because I'm an advocate for emulation. I'm an advocate for preserving games. But what these guys are talking about goes beyond that, and it just ruins the entire community. And it permeates and it infects the entire community. And when you're trying to make a serious argument for emulation, when you're trying to make valid points, that kind of stuff is what ruins it. Because that's what the big companies see, and I can't really blame them at that point. What do I do? So yeah, that's my video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you see my point of view? Do you think it's just okay to take games from companies or just steal from anybody? I mean, I don't know why it seems to be different when it comes to video games, that it's okay to walk in. Would you walk in a store and just take something off the shelf and leave? If that's how you get down, then I guess. But I tend to work for what I want and pay for it, and that's how I roll. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and I'll see you fools next time. Peace out.